Kaleidoscope, a weekly public affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Kaleidoscope Magazine, and News Channel 5.
Good morning, everyone. Good to have you with us. It was only 3 years ago when Dan Ruminski started his presentations at local libraries, sharing his knowledge about Cleveland's rich history. Today, he's known as Cleveland's Storyteller, and he'll share more with us about that. Then the American Heart Association and American Stroke Association Health Equity Advisor, Dr. Edgar Jackson, and Powered in Stroke Ambassador George Williams will be here to explain who's most at risk for heart disease and strokes. And later in the broadcast, Tonda Gant will tell us about the annual Cool, Smooth, and Jazzy event benefiting a local organization. Good morning. I'm Leon Bibb. This is Kaleidoscope. And so we beginning with Cleveland storyteller Dan Ruminski. Good to have you with us, Dan.
Thank you so much.
How did you get the title of being Cleveland storyteller?
Well, I started about 3 years ago in Gates Mills, Ohio, giving a story in the Gates Mills Library about the great estates of Gates Mills, intending only to do one story, and they expected 40 people, and lo and behold, 150 people showed up. So we hit a nerve. And the libraries all communicate, and that spread through the library system like wildfire. And next thing I knew, I'm doing 90 talks a year.
90 talks a year. You talk about this city's history, don't you?
I do indeed.
Yeah. What intrigues you about Cleveland history?
I think, little known, we were the wealthiest city in all the world at one point. I think very intriguing. Half the world's millionaires were here in Cleveland.
When was this now?
This would be about 1885.
Half the world's millionaires lived in Cleveland.
Cleveland, and most of those on Euclid Avenue, Millionaires Row. And Millionaires Row was called the grandest, most beautiful street in all the world. And not by just anybody, by Mark Twain. For Mark Twain traveled extensively with the Severance family, and he knew and lived on Millionaires Row for a time.
And where we're sitting right now, on the corner of Euclid Avenue and East 30th Street, this is the heart of what was Millionaires Row and where our studios are right now.
Exactly. Millionaires Row, initially the title was 20th to 40th. Although the definition was expanded, and the homes actually started on Public Square and went out to East 105th Street.
As you give these presentations around Cuyahoga County or Northeast Ohio, talking about Cleveland, what do you find surprises people?
Well, basically that, for example, we were the home of the auto industry. It was not Detroit. We had over 300 auto manufacturers, and basically because they were all converted carriage manufacturers. And we had the steel and everything needed to build carriages, and it was natural to go into automobiles.
Let's look into the future. Can we use what you are teaching us and what we perhaps don't know that we know? Can we use that to build for the future?
Well, I think it's a marvelous question, and indeed, my mission statement with this history is to build pride in Cleveland, to overcome those negative stereotypes, which none of us enjoy. When you have pride, you do move a city forward. So it's my thought that if each of us as Clevelanders move the city forward in some fashion, eventually we're going to return to that greatest city in the world.
It is a great place. It is a great place. Before we started doing the broadcast, you told me something about the great sleigh races, and I says, don't tell me now. I want you to tell me on the air. What were the great sleigh races? I assume that's S-L-E-I-G-H, as in Santa Claus's.
Correct, exactly. It was an event that took place on Euclid Avenue between 1875 and 1905, so pre-automobile. And it was informal. All the fellas, including Rockefeller and Hanna and Mather, wanted the best horses in the world. And to prove this, they raced each other, the sleighs. And for 30 years, and virtually nobody knew about this, I found it in a little book through my research. They would race from East 40th Street to East 9th Street. And then they would come back and race again. And it was informal. They would call each other at the office and said, I'll meet you at East 40th this afternoon, and we'll wage a little money to see whose horse is the fastest.
The beginning of automobile drag racing.
Yes.
Right on Euclid Avenue.
Right on
which
Euclid
they still
Avenue.
do out here on Euclid Avenue sometimes with cars.
Well, interesting to note that the speed limit on Euclid at that point was 5 miles an hour. And so for the races, they lifted the speed limit.
I'm intrigued by the story that you began telling me off camera, and it is about the King's Speech, that movie, The King's Speech, based on the King of England who had a speech impediment. Tell me about that story now.
Well, basically, we have a great Cleveland connection to that movie. A gal by the name of Laura Mae Corrigan was a rival to Wallace Simpson. And she started on Wisconsin, but wound up on Millionaire's Row and a great estate in Wickliffe, Ohio, today Pine Ridge Country Club. And she migrated to Europe, and she became the grand hostess and actually a rival to Wallace Simpson.
Who married King Edward.
King Edward, and when Edward abdicated, Laura Mae was friends with George and Elizabeth. So her career mushroomed due to that abdication. And basically she had a conversion. She was totally interested in only grand entertaining, but when the war broke out, she mounted an incredible effort to feed refugees. And the Germans respected her so much that she gained access even to the concentration camps.
And she was a Greater Clevelander.
Greater Clevelander, not by birth, but by migration. And basically, she's in history books. She received the highest awards possible from both France and Great Britain.
We're going to talk for another couple of seconds or so, but I want to put a phone number on the screen, as you see, 440-951-1312. You can get in touch with Dan Rominsky, or you can go to clevelandhistorylessons.com, and you're available to come talk about Cleveland and what you've learned in this city of your youth and your birth and all of that.
Indeed I am. I'm also now doing a lot of speeches for fundraising events, being kind of the draw.
Yeah.
And again, it's because of this tremendous appetite for this history right now.
I've got 30 seconds remaining. Leave me with a wonderful story that nobody knows but you.
A little candy was invented in Cleveland with a hole in the middle.
Lifesaver.
Yes. And the company was sold in 1908 for $2,900 to an Ed Noble. Ed Noble took the company, developed it, and wound up paying $8 million to buy American Broadcasting Company.
ABC.
ABC.
And we're an ABC television, so we're kind of linked.
that.
We're kind of linked. We're kind of linked to the Lifesaver.
Well, why I chose the story.
The Lifesaver candy. Thank you so much, Dan Rominsky, Cleveland storyteller extraordinaire. Good to have you on the broadcast, Dan. You are just a wealth of knowledge. At cocktail parties, everybody stands around you, don't they?
Yeah, and I can't drink because I need to remember this stuff.
Good to have you on the broadcast. Thank you, Dan. Once again, you can reach him at 440-951-1312. Good to have you with us. Thank you. I'm going to take a break. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about stroke and heart problems and how to hold those back after this. Good to have you on Kaleidoscope. Heart disease and stroke are particularly high among blacks and Hispanics. American Heart Association and American Stroke Association Health Equity Advisor Dr. Edgar Jackson is with us, and so is Power to End Stroke Ambassador George Williams, who works for the American Heart Association and the American Stroke Association as well. And we're going to talk about the risk factors for these diseases and about the second annual Power to End Stroke Comedy Luncheon, which is taking place on June the 2nd. Good to have you both with us. Two of my good buddies in town.
Thank you. Yeah, good to see you. Thanks, Leon.
Ed Jackson. Let me start with you, Dr. Jackson.
Yes.
Why are blacks and Hispanics most at risk for heart disease and stroke?
We don't know the reason, but we know the data show that we have twice the risk, say, of white populations. We die, if there are 100 whites die, 200 blacks die from stroke. Why, we don't really know. We also know, some of the factors that cause stroke, which I can go into.
So all of that, we're doing research on that and, and trying to turn it on.
Trying to figure out why it is.
George, you're ambassador for the Power to End Stroke theme of the American Heart Association and the American Stroke Association. What's that mean, being an ambassador?
Well, I know it sounds like an impressive title, Leon, but I'm one of hundreds of volunteer ambassadors here in Cleveland, representing the American Heart and American Stroke Association. And our task is to be a liaison between the Stroke Association and our respective communities, our respective networks.
You're trying to get people to be much more aware of lifestyles and staying healthy and things like that.
And the fact that a stroke can come from anywhere, out of the blue, and can affect our friends, our neighbors, our families, and what needs to be done when that happens.
I'm going to come back to you in just a second because I want to talk about this comedy luncheon that's going to come up where you're going to be involved in that. But let's go back to the doctor here talking about the symptoms of stroke and heart disease. What are these symptoms?
The key symptoms are sudden changes. For example, with stroke, the sudden change of vision, loss of use of an extremity, any sort of sudden loss of function is an indication that you may be having a stroke. And the key issue here is if the question rises, one should get to the hospital immediately because there are stroke attack protocols that can often have complete recovery if it's caught early enough.
And a stroke is really a brain attack.
It's a brain attack. It's like a heart attack, a brain attack.
Okay.
Correct.
Let's go back to George now. Tell me about this event that's coming up on the luncheon on June 2nd, a Saturday at the Embassy Suites in Independence. What is this comedy luncheon about now?
Well, the comedy luncheon is the culmination of a month of activities here in Cleveland to promote stroke awareness and stroke education. The month of May is Stroke Awareness Month. And there are a variety of programs and activities that are being conducted by the Stroke Association throughout Cleveland that will end at the end of the month, which leads to the comedy luncheon. And it's an action-packed, fun event to help bring awareness about stroke.
And raise some money along the way for research and all those kinds of things.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Tickets, I'm told, are $35?
$35 a piece, or you can buy a table for 10.
Okay. Let me give it a good plug here. The luncheon, the comedy luncheon, June 2nd, 11 o'clock in the morning. That's a Saturday at the Embassy Suites in Independence. It's a luncheon. Tickets are $35. I'm going to put a phone number on the screen there, 216-619-5156, as you see at the bottom of the screen, or you can go to heart.org/Cleveland, heart.org/Cleveland, find more information on all we've been talking about. If you can get the word out, Dr. Edgar Jackson, if you can get the word out through comedy, or any way you're willing to get that word out about the importance of staying healthy.
Absolutely. And the importance of not smoking, keeping fat intake down, exercise up, and all the preventive things that most of us really know intellectually. But we need the will to do it.
If we do these things, we can hold off a lot of the ailments.
Exactly.
But too much smoke. Well, smoking is not good in any way, shape, or form.
People should quit.
And fast foods, all of that. You got to do that with moderation, or not do it at all.
Exactly.
Those kinds of things.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what you would agree with, wouldn't you, Mr. Ambassador George Williams?
Without a doubt. And it's our job as ambassadors to try to share that message across the city. And especially with our families, to make them conscious, I think, if nothing else, about what we're eating and what we're doing through exercise.
Now, the American Heart Association and the American Stroke Association are working hand in hand on this one, aren't they?
Yes.
They're working hand, and that's what we need, Dr. Jackson.
Absolutely.
Is for all of the medical-oriented groups to work hand in hand, because we're talking about saving lives and keeping people happy, healthy. All right, let me plug it one more time. Saturday, June 2nd, 11 o'clock. The Embassy Suites in Independence. It's a big comedy luncheon to raise money and raise awareness about the problems of stroke and heart attack and those kinds of things. Tickets are $35, and people can make the phone call and they can get information on this, right, George?
Yes, and they can go online to place orders for tickets. And that's where you can also see what's going to be happening at the luncheon. We're bringing in 2 nationally known comedians, George Wilborn from the Michael Baisden show, and Alex Ortiz from the BET Comic View show.
He is funny, too.
He's funny. So we're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to stay healthy at the same time.
George is coming back for the 2nd time, and he tore the house down last year.
Okay, all right. And that's what we need, more people to tear the house down and raise the roof. Those kinds of things. Okay, thank you very much. George Williams, Ambassador for the Power to End Stroke program of the American Heart Association and the American Stroke Association, and Edgar Jackson, advisor to both of those organizations in health equity. Good to see you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leon.
Thank you. Great to see you.
Good to see you, George. Good to see you as always. I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back. This is Kaleidoscope, but first this. Welcome back to more of Kaleidoscope. Cool, Smooth, and Jazzy, the organization, hosts its annual fundraiser to benefit a local nonprofit organization. Executive producer Tonda Gant will share information on why this year's event is so especially significant. Good to have you with us, Tonda Gant.
Thank you,
Cool, Smooth, and Jazzy. I love the name.
Yes.
And when I was in college, it's probably something I would have called myself when I was 18 years old. We all wanted to be cool, smooth, and jazzy.
That's right.
What is Cool, Smooth, and Jazzy, Tonda?
Cool, Smooth, and Jazzy is an organization that was started more than 17 years ago. It's about bringing fashion, letting people come out, dress up, have a good time, but also do something to help others. So one of our founding partners, Tony Owens, unfortunately, it's a bittersweet year for us. We lost him in January to pancreatic cancer, but we want to continue the vision and the legacy. So Cool, Smooth, and Jazzy just helps nonprofit organizations to get the word out. A lot of them are startup or new. And then just to continue their vision, and like I said, we bring this event, it's every year. It's a celebrity benefit here and fashion show, and we have people come out and they're able to you know, come out, see some hair fashions, clothes fashions, hear some live entertainment, but also support a worthy cause.
We're going to get a picture of the late Tony Owens.
Yes.
Tell me, what was Tony Owens? What was his vision?
Tony was, they called him the suit guy. As you can see, he looks really good on the flyer there, but whenever you saw Tony, he was always dressed nice. He always wanted to encourage people to take pride in themselves, but also to do something for others. He supported you whether you were walking the runway or walking down the street. He was just one of those kind of people that touched a lot of lives, and just put, you know, just was really about doing something for others. He started out doing this, like I said, over 17 years ago. We were helping AIDS organizations. He had lost a family member to AIDS, and there was such a stigma that people weren't aware of the situation. And he wanted to get the information out, but he was new to Cleveland, so he wanted to find a way to meet people, but also to, you know, get some information out to help people understand what was going on.
So we're going to have a tribute to this man, the man behind the vision. And tell me about this tribute. You are scheduled for Sunday, May 20th at the Mix Cleveland Club at 12459 Cedar Road. Tell me about this event you've got scheduled for 6 o'clock.
Well, like I said, we've been doing this now. This is our 15th year. We want to thank our sponsors. We have Neon Health Services, who is actually celebrating their 45th anniversary. So we are celebrating our 15th anniversary, and they're celebrating their 45th, along with Jay Honda. They're coming with us to help us put on this fashion show. We have hair salons, Dylan's Barber Salon, Textured Twists, and Prime Gentleman Barber Spa. So curly, so kinky, so straight, and Visions of Drama. They're going to be having their segment where they show their hair fashions. And then we have clothing fashions from Cachet and Fashions by Fowler, Diamonds Men's Store, Promises Bridal, Rave Fashions, and then we have some local designers too. We always try to support, you know, Cleveland's own. We have Stephanie Nunn, Zalter Zahn, Drew Christine, and then we have a Hispanic designer, Jonathan Anderson, and that's very special to us because for the last couple of years, Tony has really talked about bringing black and brown together. He's all about, you know, we're one people, we need to come together and do things as a community. So we're really excited about having Jonathan with us.
Now, what happens to the money? We got 2 minutes remaining. What happens to the money that you raise with this? Well, what will you do to help with in what you do?
Okay. Well, normally what we do, we pick a nonprofit organization. We help to raise money through donations from community and organizations, and also from the majority of proceeds from the event go to that organization. This year we're going to give it to the Tony Owens Memorial Fund. And he, like I said, Tony passed away from pancreatic cancer, and it is our understanding that his family is going to use some of the money for that as well.
Once again, it's going to be, the event is going to be 6 o'clock Sunday, May 20th at the Mix Cleveland Club. That's at 12459 Cedar Road. That will be Cleveland Heights.
Yes, Cleveland Heights.
Cleveland Heights. So it's going to be a wonderful event. And I know you've got a bunch of celebrities who are going to be there, and among them you got a couple of people from Channel 5.
We sure do. We're very excited to have Macy Jepson and Mike Dunstan to be a part of it, and we also have you know, some community leaders. Last year we did the Ginn Foundation, and so Coach Ted Ginn is going to be on our celebrity runway this year. So, but yeah, we're very excited. Our audience just loves the celebrity runway. They get to touch, you know, and see the people that they watch on TV every day or see out in the community.
And all the stations in Cleveland are represented. I see a bunch of great names, great people at some of the other stations. My good friend Wayne Dawson and Kenny Crumpton over at Channel 8. They'll plug me when they do this interview on their station. They'll plug what we're doing over here. So we all work together on this one. Where can we get tickets?
Tickets are available at Diamonds Men's Store at Richmond Town Square or Fashions by Fowler in Shaker Square, or you can, like I said, contact the phone number you see on the screen, or go to www.coolsmoothandjazzy.com, and there's information and phone number as well.
I could not have said it better, Tonda. I could not have said it better. Thank you so much for being on the broadcast.
Thank
we do
you, Leon.
appreciate that.
I appreciate you
we
for
wish you
having me.
much success.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to take a break. We'll be right back. This is Kaleidoscope, but first this. One of our partners on this broadcast is the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, and with us right now is Donna Dabbs. She's the director of the Cuyahoga Small Business Development Center of the Urban League of Greater Cleveland. Hey, Donna.
Hello, Leon.
Good to see you.
Good to be here.
What's on your mind today? What are you thinking about today?
What I'm thinking about is I've been at the Urban League, the Small Business Development Center, for 6 months now, and we've got our program pretty well set for our small businesses to help them grow and to start businesses. We've got a pretty extensive curriculum of courses that all our small businesses can come to and get help, or we have one-on-one counseling for the small businesses. But even if they haven't started, you know, if they have an idea, they can come down to the Small Business Development Center.
You kind of can get them started.
Yes, we can get them started. Yeah, we can talk to them about their grand ideas and their passions, and see how we can really make them turn it into a viable business. Everybody has an idea, everybody's doing something on the side. Well, we really help businesses take it to the next level and create a viable business around their idea.
You got to have a roadmap. You got to have a plan.
Yes.
And if you provide that roadmap for them? We
provide the roadmap, and most importantly, we provide that other sort of sounding board for their business to make them see if it's conceptually, if it makes any sense.
Yeah. I've got 45 seconds remaining with you. What do you suggest people do? Where do they start if they want to make a connection with the Cuyahoga Small Business Development Center? How do they start?
I would suggest that they call us at the Urban League, and we can help them. We can give them instructions of how to sign up for the classes, or just tell them when our next classes are, and they can come and visit us.
We've got a phone number on the screen. If they can make that phone, they can make the phone call. It starts right there.
It's as easy as that.
It's
just call
as easy as just pick up the phone.
We're there to help everybody, no matter where you are in your business. We're there to help you.
I mean, people make phone calls to vote for Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
It's that easy. Are you gonna...
And this phone call will actually help them personally, so it's maybe a better phone call to make.
Yeah, vote for yourself on this one. 216-812-3162. That's 216-812-3162, and somebody you will answer, or somebody in your office will answer.
Somebody in your office will answer, and eventually they'll get to me.
Okay, that's a good deal.
Thank you.
That's going to do it. Donna Dabbs of the Urban League. I'm Leon Bibb. Be well.
Kaleidoscope, a weekly public affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Kaleidoscope Magazine, and News Channel 5.